Alright, yeah. I'm going to read something that I wrote, so I'll have to put my glasses on. And yes, I know it's bedtime. I haven't took my makeup off yet, so anyway. I will probably let's see. I was talking about mockery of God in the end times. Me and somebody else. She was, excuse me, it's bedtime. My eyes start burning. Oops, and I smear my makeup. But I'm sure you've seen somebody wipe their makeup to straighten it up before, right? Right. Yeah, I have, haven't you? Alright, so I'm going to see. I was talking about mocking Father Yasmi and Debbie, and was talking about everything that's going on. And there's a lot of people that's because of because of who we want to do good and not evil. We want to vote for good and not evil. And there's a lot of people that have issues with that. First, I'm going to point out, just for your a little bit off topic, but on at the same time, just the 3 scriptures that I want you to look at. Well, actually, I want you to look at more, and the first one's in Zechariah, the 14th chapter. And I want you to read that even down to the feast days, the ones we got to keep, which usually runs in September, October on our calendar. So that's why it's good to know the feast days and understand the feast days, because it's actually a timeline too. But it talks about for those who come against Israel, how in the end what's going to happen is their eyeballs are going to melt out of their head, their flesh and all that. Just go read it. Go read it. And then you got Mark 13. Mark 13 tells you a lot about the end times. This is Yahusha himself talking. And after the disciples had asked him what was going to happen, and he told them. And in Matthew 24, verses, I think it starts at 29. Anyway, it goes in there and it tells you about, is after the last trump. Of course, we know Revelations is the last trump, but the end in the time's going to be after the moon and the stars and all that fall, and then he's going to come all at once to meet us in the air. And this is in Mark 2. He just kind of says the same thing pretty much, but talks about for the elect's sake. Everybody talks about the elect being a certain group, but the elect actually is Father Yah's children. If you'll read it, I think it's Colossians, he'll tell you that. Alright, I had to put some eye drops in my eyes. They were bothering me real bad. And actually they still are, so. But, where was I? Okay, anyway, I'm just going to start here. So, and they have at the end of time, what's going to happen. And then Mark, and then you can read through Revelations, about your name, how basically I talked about it for the 10 days of odd, but then you have to read, and then if you look at this, you're going to see a timeline also. And, we're going to be made fun of. The true and the children of the true and living Father Yah is going to be made fun of. They're going to be mocked. And it's not going to be good. Bad things are going to happen. And, Daniel, Zechariah, it's all through the Bible. He tells us, excuse me, my eyes is bothering me again, but it's all through the Bible. He tells us, and you have to really look it up. Oh, and that's like I heard, but here's how you got to look it up. You see, it's like I heard I'm talking to somebody, and they're saying like, oh, I think it's First Thessalonians. It seems like it was the 5th chapter, but anyway, they're talking about, oh, he's going to come as a thief in the night. And of course we have these shows Left Behind that kind of give people the wrong idea of things. They forget they're just shows. And a lot of times shows isn't reality, or even though they're based on reality, they're not reality. And so he's talking about, oh, we're going to be, it's a secret coming, and that's what these great preachers said and everything else, and that's what I'm standing by. Well, then I'm taking, okay, let's go down a few verses more, like in verse 4. In verse 4, if you read it, it talks about, well, it's during this, it's after this. um we're supposed to be the watchmen on the wall, that we're supposed to be watching, keep them watch and everything like that, because what happens is, as children of the light, as children of the true and living Father Yah, we're not going to be took by surprise. We may not know the exact day or the hour, but we're not going to be surprised, because we're going to see the signs, because we're going to know the signs, because we've been watching for the signs. See, like a watchman on the wall. Excuse me, didn't mean to do that. But anyway, which we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be watching. And like the 10 virgins. The 10 virgins is like this. You have the 5 that were being watchful. They had their light lit. And then you had the 5 that wasn't. And everybody's like, well, that shows that's proof of a pre-rapture. Well, no, not really. What it's saying is to be watchful. It's like the thief in the night. What happens if you're not ready? You're He's going to come and catch you unawares. See, the thing about this is they try to live off of somebody else's oil anyway, so to speak. They was wanting to, instead of getting their own oil, instead of doing their own studying, their own praying, their own, searching out the scriptures and this and that and everything they're supposed to do, they was trying to live off of the oil of somebody else, of the other Christians, the other 5 virgins, which you can't do. You can't live off of somebody else's oil. You can learn from them, but you can't live off them. And then Father Yah says, then we're supposed to study to show ourselves approved before Yah, Father God. And then I touch on that too. And also, if you don't, then, hey, that's your fault. And it talks about, when like the Antichrist, you have 3 parts: the Antichrist, the beast, and the one that comes over the water. You have 3 parts. Basically, you're just mocking Father, as always. He always has to try to live off of somebody else. Anyway, he's mocking. But anyway, he's talking about, oh yeah, one's going to be taken, one's left. Well, there's a lot of different theories and this and that on that. But when you think about it, it's really simple. Because he talks about, when you see this happening, when the man of abomination and desolation goes in the temple and he sacrifices, which, the temple can actually be a tent like the first day, y'all, because there has to be a temple for him to walk into the sacrifice, which, there's a lot of different theories on that too. But basically, there's got to be one for it to do it. But, and, as far as that goes, the first temple was actually a tent put up. And, so it could be that. It doesn't have to really be a building, although it can be. But what happened, he says, whenever you see this, you take off running. You don't even look back. You don't go in the house to find your clothes. You don't do anything else. You go running, right? So what happens is, whenever this is happening and people seeing this taking place, there'll be 2 of you sitting at the well, right? There'll be 2 of you in the field, 2 of you in the house, and one's not going to be watching, and they're going to just be sitting there. The other is going to take off running. They're not even going to look back, because they're going to have known what was said. They're going to have known the sign of the times. So don't take people's word for it. And when they mock you, make fun of you, well, that's their own, that's their own foolishness. I don't call no man fool, but that's basically their own foolishness. So you don't fall for it. You keep standing. You keep on watch. You don't listen to nobody else's words. You study to show yourself approved. It's not about the commentary in the Bible. It's about what the Bible actually does say. It's not about the religious spirit. It's about Father Yah and what Father Yah says. Get away from the religious spirit, y'all. Study the word. All right? Because of you.